Still doing this? Yeah, me too. Let's get to work on it. Welcome, I'm John of John Health and Fitness. No miracles, real life. Part of real life is dealing with screen slouch. That's forward slouching we get, pulling everything together when we hold our smartphones. As I mentioned in part one, this is where life happens, in front of us, whether you're driving, working, cooking, what have you. But the cell phone, it brings everything even closer together. In part one, we worked on mobility, basically just general little ranges of motion exercises to kind of open things up. Part two, we're going to focus on stretching. The things we want to stretch is everything in front. Everything in front is what's getting shortened from being in this forward position all the time. My shoulders even come up a little bit. We're going to want to pull those down just a bit. But my main focus is going to be across the chest and the interior parts of your shoulders, because that's where most of the tightening happens, although we'll be working on some other things as well. All the normal caveats apply, of course. I do have disclaimers in my description at the end of this video, but the main thing to note is the fact that these are for demonstration purposes only. I can't possibly know if this is a good idea for you to do, so check with whomever you have to check with to make sure these are something you can do safely. Let's get started. So I'm going to start with a kind of low stretch. Keep the arms low. Partly I don't want to necessarily load up the shoulders right now. So keep the arms off to the side and just draw those shoulder blades together. You should feel a stretch across that chest. Kind of draw them back and down and hold. So this is a little different from what we did in part one, which I do encourage you to watch because there's a lot more information in that one. And all that will be up in the eye. What we're doing here is we're holding. The thing about holding a static stretch is that you have little sensors in your tendons and muscles that will naturally release some of the tension in the muscle as you hold it. So it's something you want to hold for at least 20 to 30 seconds, ideally longer. We won't do that here because I don't want you sitting around watching someone holding a static stretch for 60 seconds. But you do want to do that in real life. And you only really have to do 1 or 2 sets of them anyway, depending on how often during the day you think you can make time to do these things. So you're basically just opening that chest up and kind of reaching down a little bit with the shoulders and just holding. Something important I want you to take note of while you're watching this, I'm not pushing against anything. I don't have my arm up in a door jamb and stepping forward. I'm not a fan of pushing against joints, forcing them to stretch. I feel like you're forcing it to do something you couldn't do naturally with your natural musculature. You can open up and stretch just using your body, using the opposing muscles to draw back. I consider that relatively safe, and if you're patient, take a long-term view, over time you will stretch. Forcing things is rushing things, and I think rushing things can just cause problems. So next thing, I'm going to get the arms a little higher. This is a stretch I use in my classes a lot. Just kind of bring the palms up, thumbs back, and now you're really drawing those shoulder blades together, and then just holding. This is the main stretch I think that will help this. It should feel reasonably good too. Again, watch arching the back and notice that posture kind of tends to improve just naturally as you do this. A couple other minor ones is you can hold and extend those arms. Again, this is kind of like we did mobility, but this is where we're holding it. Stretching the biceps, you probably don't need a ton of this because we spend a lot of time with our arms extended anyway. But a little bit is not going to hurt. And same thing with the wrists. You pull those back very gently on your wrists. Don't force that. I see people putting their wrists flat on the floor and bending them backwards. I used to do that. I don't think that's a very good idea. Just draw them back gently. And finally, maybe the fingers too. Really, this is a hand stretch. Also, be very gentle on those. And that's really the basics. What we're doing is we're lengthening everything that's getting shortened all along these arms. Everything that's flexing, pulling in, we're opening up and lengthening a little bit. Part three, we're going to focus on the other side. We worked on general mobility. We've stretched all these things that get short in the front. Now we're going to strengthen everything that gets really long in the back. That's part three. Thanks for watching. I am John of John Health and Fitness. Check out the website, johnhealthandfitness.com. Hit that alert bell and the subscribe button so you get future videos. Thank you. Take care. See you next time. Don't forget the comments. back in my day, we weren't all slouched over because of fancy cell phones. We were all slouched over, just not because of fancy cell phones.